Hello, amazing students. We're going to do some more math. We're going to do some more word problems, and we're going to look today at how we deal with problems that may involve subtraction or finding the difference. But before we go any further, we're going to have to practice those three reads. So our first read, we read without focusing on the numbers. We focus on the problem itself. What is the big idea? What is the gist of the problem? Well, let's see. Mr. Greg went apple picking. He picked 51 apples. When he got home, he decided to bake some apple crisp. He used 26 apples to make his apple crisp. He wanted to bring the remaining apples to school to share with the other teachers at Haynes. So I think the gist of this problem is that Mr. Greg picked some apples and he baked something, but he wants to share any apples he has left over with others. I think that's the big idea here. So let's take a look at our second read. Our second read, we're going to dig into the details of the problem. I'm going to focus a little bit on the quantities. Quantities are the numbers involved in the problem. Which numbers are important, which are not? Let's go ahead and read it again. Mr. Greg went apple picking. He picked 51 apples. Well, I think that's probably important, so I'm going to underline 51. When he got home, he decided to bake some apple crisp. He used 26 apples to make his apple crisp. Okay, so he picked 51. He used 26. He wanted to bring the remaining apples to school to share with the other teachers at Haynes. There's another number there, except this number's not shown as a number, it's shown as words. I bet you're thinking the same thing I am. The remaining apples. That's another number. That's an unknown number. We don't know that yet. We don't know how many apples were remaining. All right, let's look at it for our third read before we solve it. What is being asked of you? What is the question and how will you go about solving it? Well, I know the question, but I deliberately covered it because I wanted us to think for a minute about what that question is. So let's see. Mr. Greg went apple picking. He picked 51 apples. He got home. He decided to bake some apple crisp. He used 26 apples to make the apple crisp. He wants to bring the remaining apples to school to share with the other teachers. Well, if he wants to share them, he's got to know how many he has to share. That would be my guess. So I'm betting the question is something like, how many apples does he have left? Or how many apples will he be able to bring to school to share? Or how many apples does he have remaining after he baked his apple crisp that he can share with those teachers? Let's take a look. Oh, there it is. How many apples did Mr. Greg have left to share with the teachers at Haynes after he made his apple crisp? All right, well, now I'm going to go ahead and solve that problem. And I know, because it's how many are left over right here, that's going to be a problem where I have to find the difference between how many I picked and how many I used to find out how many I had left over. So we can find that difference two ways. One way we can do it is we can find the difference between those numbers. So we're going to start with our lower number, our 26 apples that I used, and we're going to put our higher number at this end. And we're going to find out how many apples. This is going to be how many are remaining. That's the difference between these two. So I love this. 26, I know 26 and 4 gets me to that friendly number. So I'm going to start with that. Plus 4. Well, I know between 30 and 50, I know that there is 20. Oop. And I know that because I know 30 plus 10 is going to get me to 40. And I know 40 plus 10 is going to get me to 50. But we're not done yet. We still have a tiny bit more to go. And I'm sure all of you saw that 50 plus 1 is 51. So I'm going to be adding the numbers that were in the difference. I'm going to cross these out because I don't want to confuse us. I don't want to add those 10s in there because those 10s are included in that 20. So I see 20, 24, 25. So I know that what we just did, 26 plus 25 equals 51. So he has 25 apples, got to label that problem, left. All right, let's look at solving that another way. This is finding the difference between two, but we can use subtraction, and we're going to use subtraction on a number line. So I started with 51 apples. That's how many I picked. I got rid of 26. I used them to make my apple crisp. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take away 1 to get me to that friendly number. So if I take away 1, I get to 50. Now, I'm taking away 26. If I took away 1, I have 25 to get rid of still. 25, so I'm going to take away 20. And that gets me to 30. But I had 26. I see 21 here, so 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I have 5 more to take away. So I'm going to take away 5 more. And that gets me to 25. And in this case, here, my number was 20 plus 4 plus 1 was 25. And in this case, my answer is here. You have to be careful. Now, that's not the only way I could do it. I could have done it a number of different ways. I could have tried it this way. I could have started at 51. And I could have taken away 20, 41, 31. And then I could take away 1. That would get me to 30. And I still have that 5 to take away. There are lots of ways we can do this. I like jumping friendly numbers or landing on friendly numbers. That's me. And I think that would be useful to you too. So our answer is 25 apples left. I've tried 2 different strategies. This would be finding the difference, and this would be using subtraction. Remember, big number. We're going to go this way, back down to the smaller number. All right. I hope you have fun working with these problems today. Remember, before you solve the problem, give it those 3 reads. Read it first, focusing on the main idea. I love this word. What is the gist of the problem? What is it about? This problem is about Mr. Greg picking, using, and giving some apples away. Second, read it to see what quantities, what information is important in there. Well, I picked 51, I used 26, and I wanted to know how many were remaining, and that's my unknown. And then we read it again for the 3rd time. We ask what the question is. Even if you have a question, I want you to read it thinking about what is the question asking of you. So if the question isn't hidden, what is it asking of you? And again, this question was asking, how many are left over? How many can I give away? So when you do these, I really hope you practice this. This whole video only took 7 minutes. I did the 3 reads. I solved it 3 different ways, and I talked to you about it, and it took me 7 minutes. I think that that's time well spent if you get the right answer. So best of luck. Take care.